Hello, and welcome to episode 148 of Pop Culturally Deprived, where each week we watch a movie I've never seen before, which is most of them, and talk about the good, the bad, and the medieval. This week we're going to be talking about The Night Before Christmas on your, I should think, The Douche podcast. I'm Mandy Kay, and you can find me on Twitter if you want to talk about all of the Christmas movies.
And I'm Matthew Vose. You can find me on Twitter at Matthew Vose. Merry Christmas, Mandy.
Merry Christmas, Matthew.
Merry Christmas Eve. People might be listening to this in 2020, so.
That's true, but still. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, everyone. God bless us, everyone.
God bless us, everyone. Yes. So, we are watching a brand new Christmas movie this year. This is not like pop culturally deprivation because nobody has seen this yet.
No, absolutely.
This movie came out 2 days ago when we're recording this.
Yeah, this is the weird thing, isn't it? Like, this episode doesn't go out for a month yet.
Right. Yeah.
But to us, it's like, oh, it's just come out. And researching a podcast on this has not been easy because obviously we've watched it fairly close to recording, which sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Mm-hmm. There are no quotes online, so looking up things about, what we want to talk about has been more difficult. There's no information about some of the actors. There's only a couple of interviews to reference for the background research.
Yep. There's not really much of anything. So this is just us watching the movie and talking about it. That's it.
Oh, scary. I can't look up and see what other people thought and steal their thoughts. No.
Right. No, it's
not
just
that I
me.
would ever. Hey, how come you never watched this one before?
Because it came out 2 days ago. But actually, here's a question for you. You were the one who suggested we do this movie. So why did you want to do a newer Christmas movie, and why specifically did we decide on this one?
I think there is something that now we are approaching the end of our third year doing this. Mm-hmm. We do need to start thinking a bit further afield of some of the stuff we do.
Right.
140 however many movies we've covered of the big movies. And there are still some big ones on the list, but it's nice to have that broad approach. It's fun to do different things. I've always enjoyed that we get to mix up what we cover, when we cover it, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So rather than, and particularly because of Christmas, this will be our, let's say, 12th Christmas film.
Right.
I mean, you love Christmas, so you've watched a lot of Christmas films anyway.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah.
We've done, Muppet Christmas Carol and Scrooged and Christmas Vacation, again, the big ones. Mm-hmm. So, at some point we need to start doing a slightly broader range of them.
Yeah.
And the new Vanessa Hudgens is probably the one to go with.
Was it? Really, though? Was it? Oh, God, this is so interesting. We talked a while ago, and we'll talk about this again in a minute, I think, but we talked a couple weeks ago about whether or not watching movies for the podcast has changed how I experience watching movies. And I think this movie is the very, epitome of that experience.
Okay.
So, yeah. Okay, so many of you probably have not actually seen The Night Before Christmas, or as Matthew likes to call it, The Knigget Before Christmas.
Knigget Before Christmas.
It's a 2019 Christmas rom-com directed by Monica Mitchell and written by Cara J. Russell. It stars Vanessa Hudgens and Josh Whitehouse. And in this movie, a medieval English knight is magically transported to present-day Ohio, where he falls for a high school science teacher who is disillusioned by love. Aww.
But she does like her Christmas.
But she does like her. Well, I don't know. I have some issues with her Christmas.
Okay.
Cheer as well.
Okay.
She's a monster. Okay. She's a monster.
Let's try and get there so we can get into this. Hey, how did you watch this Netflix film that came out 2 days ago?
I watched it on my phone. No, on Netflix. Obviously. Yeah. Netflix movie, guys. Yeah. Product placement. Get Netflix.
Again, like we did with See You yesterday, we'll link to the film in the show notes.
Absolutely.
So if you listen to this and decide you want to watch it, go click that link.
Yeah. Yep. Are you super familiar with other movies like this? We know that I watch Hallmark Christmas movies every year, and Netflix is really trying to piggyback on that. So they're very similar stylistically. So kind of, where do you fall on this kind of movie?
I'm not super familiar with the Hallmark holiday film type thing.
Right. Is Hallmark even a thing there?
I don't know. Is probably the main answer. There is or used to be, I am not sure they're still in existence, but a greeting card company called Hallmark.
Yes. It's the same company.
Is that the same company?
Yes.
Right, okay. So Hallmark is a chain of card shops over here.
Yes, okay.
Is it a channel?
Yes.
Not that I know of.
Okay. We've got 3. No, we've got 3 Hallmark channels. There's the Hallmark channel, there's the Hallmark movie channel, and then there's Hallmark murder and mystery movie channel.
Okay. So we're going to do a live lookup, because it might be. It's just that I don't, I go to 301, which is the start of the movie section. I go to 314, which is the end of the movie, or the good movie section.
Okay.
And then repeat, rinse and repeat.
All right. Live fact-checking Matthew right now.
See, there's no way of searching for a channel. This sounds like a Google to me. Hallmark channel?
Apparently, in 2010, it was rebranded as the Universal Channel.
Oh. Right. Hang on. TV Guide.co.uk. I check what movies are on TV every week, basically. Okay. So I'm going to go film. Show me all film listings. Show me them in a list rather than a grid, because the grid sucks ass. We have the Sky Channel, we have ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5, they're all these things. We have 3 Sony channels.
Okay.
One of which is Christmas specific.
Nice.
Which on this day in November is showing the Christmas Takeover, Snowmen, the Christmas Lodge, Battle of the Bulbs, A Gift Wrapped Christmas, Christmas Grace, Ebby, I Saw Mummy Kissing Santa Claus, Correcting Christmas, The Christmas Project, and En Vogue Christmas, Christmas on the Bayou, and The Year Without a Santa Claus.
Nice.
There's also Sony Pictures Christmas Plus One. Should you have missed and want to go back and see the beginning of it, I'm sure there is. Oh, there's a Paramount channel. That's the other network with a channel. So is there no Universal? Is there a search? Universal TV HD? What's this? Not doing anything. So it might be.
Okay.
I think is the end of this. I think I spent way longer than I should have done looking up the Hallmark channel.
Well, the Google says it is available on Sky and Virgin, whatever that means.
So the 2 main cable equivalents over here is probably the best way to say them. Okay. Sky is satellite, so I have a dish outside to study here. Virgin is through the fibre network.
Okay.
I have watched a few recently. I've got a very good friend called Catherine. Not my wife. I love Catherine.
Okay.
I've got this very good friend who lives downstairs. No, who does love Christmas as well. And she was the one who a few years ago first went, there's a film with Summer Glau as an elf.
Right, yeah. I think we've talked about that every Christmas now.
Yeah, so I finally watched Help for the Holidays last year, 2 years ago maybe. She's recommended another one called A Snow Globe Christmas.
A Snow Globe Christmas. That
with
sounds familiar.
Someone else famous in it, whose name I now can't remember, which I couldn't find anywhere to watch last year until it was suddenly on TV on the 29th of December. So I've recorded it and I'm going to watch it this year.
Alicia Witt.
That's
Donald Faison. Yes.
Who's the main woman in that?
Alicia Witt.
She's a singer, I think.
Christina Milian is also in it.
Yes, there we go. So that's the sort of cheesy one on this year's list.
Okay.
And I did watch The Christmas Prince because everyone was talking about it.
Oh, good. Have you seen The Christmas Prince 2?
No.
And the 3rd one comes out this year soon.
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
and I didn't watch Switched at Christmas because it seems to be.
I didn't watch that one.
Yeah. Something along those lines. It seems
right.
We've been having this quite an intense conversation about it, actually, that Netflix really do seem to find scripts or projects that are basically other things that already exist and then making them.
Mm-hmm. I mean, isn't that what everybody's doing right now, though?
Yeah, but with Netflix, it feels even more so. There's a film called Next Gen, which is basically Big Hero 6, but slightly different. And okay. I can't think of other examples. There was some where you were looking through going, hey, wait. Oh, yeah, there's a film called Divines that sounds very similar to a film called Girlhood.
Okay.
And it's just.
Well, I mean, I feel like this is something that Hollywood has always been doing, though, because you've got movies like Chasing Liberty and First Daughter, you've got movies like No Strings Attached and, the other one that was almost exactly like it, that I can't remember the name of it now. But I feel like there's always, like, competing studios always release very similar movies around the same time.
Yeah, these are not around the same time.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair enough.
Like, you look at them and you go, did someone just, like, did it take ages to get on here or something? I think part of it is just Netflix are making a lot of money, so they're trying to put the money back into the system. And it is all the benefit of, we have access to a huge amount of world cinema, a huge amount of films directed by women, which historically you haven't been able to find certainly as easily as it is now. And it's still not easy, but it's better than it was.
Right.
So there's that benefit. And the other thing that occurred to me is you never hear in the discussion of Netflix an equivalent of, like, Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk. There's no one person who is making a huge amount of money off this company.
Right.
There might be, and they're just being quiet about it.
Which is the smart thing to do.
Well, absolutely. But Netflix really has this vibe of sort of, the money goes back into the system.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sure they have shareholders who are doing very well or something. But
right. Okay.
Sorry, mini rant about Netflix's production system.
Right.
Have you seen a film called Kate and Leopold?
Oh, absolutely. Many times.
This seems to be Kate and Leopold. Is the end of that conversation. It's like...
Kind of.
I mean, it is time... There are a number of time travel stories like this. There's a Gemma Depardieu one that's supposed to be excellent.
Right. The difference being Kate and Leopold, Kate went back to him, and in this one, he came to the future for her. So, slightly different.
Hang on, doesn't...
No, in the end. In the end.
Okay, I see. Got it, yeah.
For them to be together. Meg Ryan went to the past to be with him, with Hugh Grant. And, yeah.
Hugh Jackman.
Yes, Hugh Jackman, absolutely. Yes.
Really similar. Hugh Grant doing the Wolverine thing.
Well, so Kate Leopold was the first movie I ever saw Hugh Jackman clean shaven. I came to him as Wolverine.
Yeah.
And so this movie was really weird, and I think that's why he just went, because Hugh Grant is very clean shaven, and he's Hugh, and they're both, it's whatever, it's fine. They're not the same. I get
it. There was something in this story in Night Before Christmas that I was like, I think he's going to stay because she's got all this family and stuff that she's really into, but I could see her going back. Mm-hmm. But they never went down that path. I think there was just a moment that was like, oh, that would be the way to to sort of solve the oncoming conflict.
There was no conflict in this movie.
Well, yeah. Okay, let's talk about that. Did you? What did you think of the film?
Okay, so I did like it. I enjoyed it. It's a great Netflix romance Christmas movie. It's my thing, right? Yeah. It wasn't as good as I hoped it would be, but I think that's because I was watching it for the podcast. So I was taking notes and I was like exploring the story and the narrative and why are they doing this and that doesn't make sense and there's like plot holes and these things exist in all of these kinds of movies. They're fluff, right? They're low budget fluff. They're just purely entertainment. They're not intended to be these amazing works of art. And so watching it for the show kind of made my experience different. I think if I had just watched it to watch it, I would have absolutely loved it. I would have adored it.
Right. Okay.
Instead, I was happy. Like there were certain things in it that I really enjoyed. Mm-hmm. But there were other things that I found myself wishing had been done differently.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And I think Brooke's a monster.
Yeah. Okay. Should we talk about that? Can I tell you what I thought of it?
Yes. Please tell me what you thought of it.
I think I thought very much the same thing. Like, yeah, it's a really ordinary film.
Yes.
I mean, you're absolutely right. There is no conflict in this. They try to imply there is at the end, but there's no conflict in this. There's no point I was like, oh, the daughter might die or she's out on the ice.
Right.
Clearly that was never going to happen. But I can't help but have enjoyed it as like it's a warm blanket.
Yes.
And although it was very ordinary and doing all the ordinary stuff you would see, it did it very well and quite capably. So I actually rated it a little bit higher than perhaps I would otherwise have done.
Okay.
Because if you judge it on its own terms, what it does quite well.
Yes. And I mean, Vanessa Hudgens and Josh Whitehouse have great chemistry together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, watching them on screen was lovely. I mean, the issues that I have with it are story issues. And it's not this, you don't go to these movies for story, right? You go to these movies for the fantasy, for the fantastical, to disappear for a little while and enjoy happily ever after.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting dichotomy, I think. My only real complaint, I think, about the movie is that generally in movies like this, you do have a conflict in the relationship that makes you wonder, are they or are they not going to end up together? And we didn't get that here.
Yeah. It's the thing that we talked about on Pride and Prejudice. Like, it's supposed to be worlds collide, opposites attract sort of thing.
Right.
He adapted to being in a modern world very, very comfortably.
Quickly.
She believed him very quickly, and they never gave us any. In fact, all they gave us was reasons he doesn't need to stay.
Right.
There was the brother, but other than that, he didn't see his family. He was squiring and other people looking after him, and he'd now become a knight. But as we saw, there were lots of knights, so who cares?
Right, exactly. And
they never gave. Yeah, go on.
We never got any miscommunication or anything between them that made them angry at each other or walk away from each other. It was all just very happy. Saccharine is a good descriptor, I think, which is not a bad thing.
No, you're right. This is something you watch with some old wine or hot chocolate or, under a blanket with a fire.
Yes.
It's just, it's easy and unchallenging and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Why is she a monster?
What kind of person loves Christmas enough to decorate their empty guest house for Christmas, but doesn't put their Christmas tree up until December 21st?
Okay, but the sort of person who has a guest house that they decorate and they've got all the animals on the front of it and she's got a huge amount of lights up. Like, she is spending a lot on both bulbs and electricity.
Yes, she is. But she didn't put up a Christmas tree. She's a monster.
And she clearly doesn't spend much time there.
Clearly.
The thing about the kitchen is lucky to see me microwave some ramen. Which is a weird line.
Yeah. But, I mean, okay, it's weird that she decorated an empty guest house to start with. Like, it had wreaths and garlands and all kinds of things in the house. But she didn't have that's my sticking point. She didn't have a Christmas tree, and she did all these things. So that makes her a monster to me.
Okay,
that's all.
Got it. Can I then make a suggestion for how we improve this?
Absolutely. Based
on all of this. Right. So it's lacking a central conflict.
Yes.
I'm going to throw back to something you said earlier that, what was it? He falls for high school science teacher disillusioned by love. Mm-hmm. The disillusioned by love never came across. She doesn't like her ex-boyfriend, but it doesn't necessarily come across that she's like, love is terrible. I mean, no, you've got me thinking about it. There is the line that she does to the kid of focus on yourself and all that kind of thing. Right. But she's not miserable about it.
I mean, she tells her student that true love doesn't exist.
We all grow up fantasizing about being a princess and finding true love with a knight in shining armor and living happily ever after. But the thing is, that's all it is. A fantasy.
Yeah.
That's kind of disillusioned by love.
Absolutely. I think it didn't come across well enough without me thinking about it now.
Okay, fair enough.
So lean into that more. Make her so disillusioned by love. She's like, no, I'm not going to get close to this guy. Even as they are getting close, because it all goes wrong. We don't know how he got here. He's going to end up going back and I'm going to lose him forever.
Right.
So why would I fall for him? Why, she does all this stuff for other people and she decorates her house and spends so much time decorating the house and the guest house and all this stuff to distract her from her own enduring loneliness. And having a Christmas tree in her own house might be enduring loneliness.
Oh, that cuts deep. Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
My life before I met my current significant other does not need to be the subject of a movie, Joseph.
Okay.
Oh my God, I just called you Joseph. Oh my goodness. Yeah, okay. You got me flustered talking about my life. Decorating.
A little bit red over there.
Fill the hole in my heart. I am red. Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, sorry if I've called you out a little bit there. but lean into that. That's why she does all this stuff for other people. That's why she's never home, because she's doing stuff for other people without necessarily facing that thing. They start falling for each other, but she's saying no, and she's insisting he has to go back.
Right.
And then something about, or she's resisting falling for him because she believes he's going to go back. And then when he goes back, she's like, see, I was right. And just spends Christmas on her own, depressed or something. And then he comes back. And it gives you an even happier ending.
Yeah.
It gives you some conflict in there because she is utterly resisting the thing because she's been,
right,
heartbroken before.
Right.
And him a reason not necessarily to stay because he's been, she's forced him to go back or something. And then he realizes he should have been there for her, or quite what he cares or something.
Right.
I don't quite know how to finesse that ending, but
yeah,
if they lent into that a little bit more,
they'd have to change the setup for the movie, I think, to do that ending, because the setup for the movie is that the old crone sends him from 14th century England to 21st century Ohio to find his destiny to become a true knight. And that destiny is apparently falling in love with a high school teacher from Ohio. That's his destiny.
Yeah.
So I think we would have to dial that back in order to have him be willing to go back because she hasn't fallen in love with him, to address some of that disillusion. There would have to be less destiny and more disillusionment.
I actually think that almost fixes the thing I can't quite fix, because the old crone can say, why do you think I sent you there to that time? Imagine if your one true love was born 700 years and 7,000 miles away from you, and I found a way to make it work. Why couldn't you?
Oh.
Or imagine the old crone appears to
Brooke.
Brooke. Vanessa Hudgens.
Her name is Brooke.
Gabriella. That's what I keep wanting to call her. Imagine the old crone appears to Gabriella as a barista or something on Christmas morning, and she tells her the story, and she's like, you won true love, and he came across 700 years and 7,000 miles, and you sent him away.
Yeah, that would have only worked though if they were going to send her back to the past.
Yeah, I think that's why perhaps I expected it for her going back to the past, because I expected conflict somewhere.
Yeah.
None never came. Yeah.
I expected us to see the old crone more than we did. I really thought there was a scene, but it ended up being an absolute throwaway scene where Cole goes back to the guest house alone. And I expected him to show up to the guest house and have the old crone already there waiting for him to chastise him.
Right.
Because things weren't going the way they were supposed to go. And he was letting Brooke kind of keep her distance at that point. And so I was a little bit disappointed that they didn't do that. And then it was a completely throwaway scene. It was in there and they edited it out because he was just there for 30 seconds and then we cut something else.
Yeah, the editing on this was so strange. Almost in the middle of conversations. Next scene starts.
Yeah.
Right, we've got to keep going. We've got a lot to pack in. And we've got a lot to pack in that does not matter.
Yeah.
The bit you're talking about there, no reason for it. Almost the bit of him going back to the Christmas castle didn't matter. He got some advice from the Santa, in inverted commas, bad advice.
Yes.
That thing of, it's only a failure when you give up. No, that's what gets people into debt. And, that's not good advice. The ex-boyfriend? I sort of get it, if they were doing this thing of, she's not sure she wants to be in love and she's resistant to it or something, but they didn't really do that. They just fell for each other and then he realized he loved her and came back to her.
Yeah, but it gave us some great lines,
Oh, well, I should thank the douche for the garments provided.
Yeah, but kind of throwaway. The neighbor and her being jealous of the neighbor.
Oh, yeah, no, and the way she, switched it off so quickly with the mistletoe.
Yeah,
that didn't need to be there.
Give me more of the neighbor of the backstory there, or don't do it. The woman with the husband who had the back problem didn't come to anything, really.
Right.
I mean, it showed that he could fix the back problem because this guy's, as she says, a Renaissance man. He is pretty perfect.
Of course he is.
But yeah, there was so much in this. I'm like, this is quite inelegant if this is just to show us that he knows how to solve, his natural remedy for solving things works really well.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a better way of doing that. Such as the bread, which was very nicely done. That was a really good touch.
Yes.
The great bit of him standing in the back of the scene, eating a roll out of every packet of dinner
and
rolls.
spitting it out.
And spitting it out just in the background of the scene that then becomes the point of the scene. Like, that was a very nice way of doing it.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
So.
All right, so there was some product placement in this movie.
There
in
was
a couple places.
Absolutely.
I think Netflix was product placing Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah. They showed us clips of a movie that I got really excited about, and usually, because I know we've talked about this before, when you see a movie on the screen that somebody is watching and you want to know, is it a real movie?
Yeah.
And most of the time it's not. Like, I can't remember what it was we watched last year, but it had a Valerie Bertinelli movie on the screen. And I looked it up to see if it was real. It was a cancer movie. And it wasn't real, and I was really disappointed it wasn't real. They filmed that just for that movie. Amazing. The Rob Lowe, Kristen Davis movie is a real movie. It's one of Netflix's new Christmas movies from this year, and they had them watching it inside this movie, and I think that's brilliant, and I really want to watch that movie now, so.
Yep. Now, there was an article about this starting a holiday interconnected universe.
Right.
And I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that's us talking about it because we want to joke about, like, holiday movies are the new MCU.
Right.
Idea. But I like them throwing in little mentions of things like that. Mm-hmm. And the thing of the Christmas Prince, and just, I think there are others in there maybe.
Right.
I wouldn't have picked up on, but it's like, that's quite cute.
I honestly, I don't think I would have caught the Christmas Prince one if I hadn't just recently watched the trailer for the Christmas Prince 3. Because I had forgotten that the country in the Christmas Prince is Aldovia. Like, I still always think Genovia from The Princess Diaries, right?
Right, yeah.
And so Aldovia just was not something in my head, but I had just recently watched that trailer, and so I knew it was there. And when they mentioned Aldovia and this, I was like, they're in the same world. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Like, awesome. I want to go to Aldovia too.
What it reminds me of is Rapunzel going to Elsa's coronation.
Yes.
In the first Frozen.
Yes.
It's not mentioned, it's not important, it's just a thing.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
Although there is the theory that it was Rapunzel's wedding that Elsa's parents were going to on the boat.
That's a little bit dark.
Yeah. They did another bit of product placement though.
Alexa.
They placed a Amazon Echo at least once, if not twice, that appeared to not be plugged in and light up in a way that the Echo devices don't light up. But fine. And
then they banished it to the outside air in the freezer.
The outside air in the freezer. That was a nice touch. I found it really out of place. Other than just making a joke about him in the modern world, and that is a thing in the modern world.
Yeah. It reminded me of What We Do in the Shadows, though. Because you remember when, oh God, what's his name? Stu. Yeah, when he was teaching them about Google. And he was like, well, look for my jacket that I lost.
That's a really nice scarf.
Scarf, that's what it was. And Sir Cole tried to get Alexa to find his horse.
Lady Alexa Play.
Lady Alexa Play, yes. Lady Alexa Play is pretty great.
So weird. And it's really strange because obviously the Echo device, and I'm having to say Echo device because if I say her name, that's going to light up over there, has a different voice and accent than mine does. So I wasn't totally possibly. I think you can change male to female. No, you can't on the Echo.
Oh, I don't know.
But she has a British accent over here.
Oh.
Yeah?
She does not have a British accent here, so...
No, she has an American accent.
Yes.
Funnily enough. Do you think they sell them with, like, different accents around the US as well?
I don't know. I imagine you can change. It has to be a setting you can change.
If you say good morning in North Carolina, she's like, howdy, y'all.
No. I had an Alexa device. She did not do that.
Amazing.
But I gave up my Alexa devices for the Google Homes.
Okay, that's fair.
There was another bit of product placement. I don't know if you noticed it.
Go on.
King Arthur flour.
No.
You didn't notice it?
I'm assuming that's the thing they baked with.
That was what they were baking with,
Right.
yes. But the bags of flour were very prominent. And King Arthur flour is very distinct. Like the bag, the logo, to me, is very different. It's most of them are just kind of plain bags that say flour, and King Arthur has a big logo. And
Okay.
I was baking a lot last year trying to do sourdough, so that's probably why
Right.
I noticed. But it was prominent enough that I'm sure they had to, like, King Arthur probably paid for that placement.
And why not? Like, go to the flour companies. Hey, we're going to be featuring some flour in our movie. We'll feature yours if you give us $5,000.
Well, and they were featuring a Medieval Night.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it makes sense. It works. But yeah, a lot of product placement in this Netflix movie.
Yeah. I'll tell you a weird placement. Norwich.
I don't
Why
even
was
know
it-
where that is.
Norwich. Norwich is almost diametrically the opposite side of London from where I am.
Okay.
So I'm southwest. It's northeast, but like probably 100 miles away from London. It's just such a random thing. And especially because when they were calling out the names of all the knights, all the other knights' locations were not real locations, except Norwich.
Oh, interesting. Huh. I don't know. Why
Yeah,
Ohio?
Well, exactly. It's just, they're so random. You know, not major things that you see in everything, because it was small town Ohio as well. Mm-hmm. It wasn't even like it was insert Ohio state capital here.
Cincinnati? Cleveland.
Is Cleveland a state?
No, Cleveland is not a state. It's
Okay.
a city in Ohio, but I don't know.
Because I want to say Colorado, and Colorado
Colorado
is
is a
Ohio.
state.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the capital of Ohio? Oh
Largest
my God.
metro is Greater Cincinnati.
Columbus,
Columbus.
Ohio.
Oh, of course it is, because there is a film called Columbus that we're going to be watching in next year in the Society.
Okay.
Good.
I am a terrible geography student.
I mean, I get it being a northern state, so you can do the snowy Christmas thing.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But so often it's the Chicago suburbs.
Or like upstate New York.
Yeah, yeah.
Or New
but
England.
in this, yeah, trying to do small town is,
Yeah.
you know, the larger metropolitan areas like this. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. What else? What else did we want to touch on?
I think it's really weird that this movie had some well-known actors in it. Mm-hmm. At least one specific well-known actor that I'm thinking of, and I don't actually know her name. I couldn't figure it out because they didn't give anybody billing for this movie in the credits other than Vanessa Hudgens, Josh Whitehouse, the kid, and her sister.
Right.
Like, that's it. Nobody else was listed. And if you go to, like, IMDb, there's, like, a caroler and, like, the neighbor. But I couldn't find the actor who played the cop. He has a lot of names. Santa has a lot of lines. He's not listed anywhere. The woman who you were just talking about, whose her husband had the back issue. Like, I've seen her in other things. She's a proper actor. I cannot remember her name, but she was not credited for this movie anywhere. And I just find that weird.
Yeah. There were lots of strange decisions in this. Just before we move off there, because you've mentioned the sister, Emmanuel Chiriqui played the sister. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was really good casting because she looks properly like Vanessa Hudgens. Quite defined features,
right?
Incredibly dark hair, and that sort of modern young woman snarky sarcasm.
So it's really funny. When I first saw them on screen, my first instinct was they do not look like sisters. But by the end of the movie, I was like, wow, they really do look like sisters.
Yeah. She was the sort of on-again, off-again girlfriend of one of the main characters of Entourage. Which is why I was sat there like, I've seen her in something. I've seen her in something as sort of bitchy Californian. And it's like, oh yeah, Entourage. Okay.
So I'm looking at IMDb now, and the full cast is now here. It was not here 2 days ago.
Okay.
That's really... Cause I looked everywhere trying to figure out what this woman's name was. The Jane Eastwood.
Jane Eastwood.
Jane Eastwood. That is her name.
any relation to Clint Eastwood?
I don't think so. It doesn't look like it. Alicia Witt is her daughter.
Oh, really?
Yes.
No.
Yes. No relation to fellow actor and director Clint Eastwood, but she's Alicia Witt's mother. And it's like, I know I've seen her in a lot of things.
So just to bring everyone up to speed with us, we've been talking about Alicia Witt recently because Alicia Witt has been in 7 Hallmark movies, like one every year for 7 years running or something.
Yep.
She's in this film, Snow Globe Christmas, which is what I first noticed. And then she just keeps coming up. I think she's in one with Queen Latifah, which was a proper release last holiday.
Yeah.
I think she's in that. So, you know, it's surprising to have a proper actress do all these Hallmark movies. Which is, and she is a very famous character from the David Lynch Dune film, which is why I noticed the name. I'm like, wait, she's in Dune. Why is she in all these Hallmark movies? You know, she's an actor.
See, when I think of her, I think of 2 Weeks Notice.
Right.
Yeah.
Slightly different.
Slightly different. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Netflix also decided to take a little bit of, Thor in this movie.
Mm.
They had, Sir Cole acting like Thor in the diner when he wanted more hot chocolate.
Delicious. Another one, wench.
Yes. Yeah. And he calls the woman a wench.
Yep. Another one wench.
And then he calls her a server. I think this might be a difference in our cultures because server feels slightly derogatory to me, but it is.
Server's standard here. So you would say server more than you would say waitress or waiter.
Interesting. Okay.
Because not servant, but server.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of this film trying to work out what Josh Whitehouse was reminding me of. And I think it's an amalgam of several things. I mean, he looks like Robert Pattinson. He's got really similar eyes and the same sort of square jaw.
Right, okay.
But he was styled like Heath Ledger from 10 Things.
Oh, yeah, he had the floppy hair going on for sure.
Yeah. And he was acting like Thor, but particularly Thor Ragnarok. The really noble, you know, that's what heroes do. Right,
yeah.
sort of thing.
Except for another one went.
Well, another one went, yeah.
You know, all it was missing was him throwing the cup on the floor,
Exactly.
which I was expecting. So there's that. Yeah.
I quite like Josh Whitehouse. I was just confused, or I didn't quite go on the journey with them of he just adapts to it all so quickly.
Yeah, I don't think that's how that would have happened in real life.
No.
Assuming, you know, this actually happened, you know, when a 14th century knight was transported to now. But he wasn't surprised that he was suddenly in a different place. Like, nothing surprised him. The cars, the radio. I mean, like, he was confused about where the singers were, but he just took it all in stride.
Yeah. And there was something nice in that, but at the same time, it just doesn't quite sort of... And if you're going to have any conflict, the conflict is going to be in him not adapting or not fitting in.
Right, yeah.
You can still have him fitting in with, like, his old style remedies for things and his old style ingredients for things work really well, whilst also he doesn't get it and he puts people in danger with his behaviour. Well, I'll tell you the thing that we thought. The whole bit with the girls going missing and almost falling through the ice, which is really strange. What we thought that was going to be was the point of him having left his sword, and they'd gone back and taken his sword and started sword fighting with it.
Oh, God.
But like, they make a whole point of, no, leave your sword, so he just plants it in the ground, but outside the house.
Right. Okay.
And then, no, we're not going to use that, you know, Chekhov's sword. We're going to have, suddenly there's a lake that's not been mentioned, that's frozen over, but suddenly this small girl's weight is...
Yeah, it was weird. Especially since she knows she's not supposed to go to the lake. They got lost in the snow, but you would know if you were walking on ice. Like, there's no way she got out there accidentally. Like,
no, she ends up in the middle of it.
Yeah. They didn't think that through.
So,
but all right. I feel like his acclimation to the modern world is almost too fantastical for this fantastical movie. Like, it removes any semblance of realism, and you want some bit of realism to relate to when you watch something like this.
Yeah.
I mean, I still enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it was nice enough. Like you say, no conflict. No thing that I would say, actually, if you watch this, it does some quite clever things. It doesn't think the things it does nicely and well.
Right.
But
It's very formulaic. It's very saccharine. It's very sweet. They mean the same thing, but, you know.
And you know, going back to some of the decisions they made and some of the stuff they put in, I don't think there were many good performances in this. I think the old crone was a really odd decision in how she acted.
Yes.
Because she felt modern.
She did, yes.
But without feeling modern.
She looked modern except for her clothes.
Yeah.
They had her face, her makeup, her hair. Didn't
But if
fit.
that's what they wanted to do, they would have done more of it.
Right.
And maybe have her use modern terminology or something. But they left it ambiguous, or it's a thing I'm reading that isn't actually there. Who knows? But I think the student, although that was a good story, and I quite liked the, you know, focus on your own goals and whatever happens will happen, was a good message. I think I didn't buy anything from the student, and I was very distracted by her wig that was doing nothing for her.
Okay.
And then there's the weirdness of the brother-in-law who gets 2 lines.
He was weird, yeah.
And spends that one scene basically holding Josh Whitehouse up and then puts him down and walks off screen.
Yeah. Yeah. That was weird.
The whole bit with them, I think it's when they're at the party. Or, no, sorry, when they're setting up for the party, it looked like rear projection. It looked like they weren't actually there.
Oh, I didn't notice.
But that they were being filmed on front. And you know, we've seen in some sort of older classic films, the thing of having your sort of star actress, she's the only thing on screen, she's got a light just on her, so she's like all glamorously lit and so on.
Right.
I felt like they were doing something like that with Vanessa Hudgens, of the bit with the car, but this is, I think, where it stood out. He gets in the car and he's trying to work it out, and then it cuts back to her and she laughs at him, and it goes back to him doing something, it cuts back to her and she makes a comment, and it goes back to him, and it goes back, and it's just shots of Vanessa Hudgens stood on her porch reacting.
Yeah.
I wonder if, you know, while she was producer, she didn't have many days of filming, so she got to film a lot of her scenes on her own, and they just inserted them in the editing.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's so strange.
All right, but did you have favorite moments? Things you really enjoyed?
I don't know if I enjoyed it or not, but calling him Sir Cole is the weirdest thing. Because it took me a really long time to figure out what his name is. And then she even mentions it. She's like, Circle? Oh, Sir Cole, I get it now.
Okay.
That joke is not strong enough to have called him Sir Cole.
Okay.
I think.
Isn't Cole too modern of a name for a knight?
Yeah, but he's a knight in the 14th century who celebrates Christmas.
Fair enough.
You know.
With his oranges and halfpennies.
Exactly. They definitely did not do that thing with Christmas trees. So I quite like that they did that as a joke, but the joke is not quite strong enough.
Okay.
That it landed on. The thing I particularly enjoyed, this is the bit that stayed with me, is his thing of, that's what I was going to say. The whole thing of him, watching TV, and that's how he acclimates to all of this and learns modern culture. Mm-hmm. That's what they did in Splash.
Yes. Yes. No, I felt similarities to Splash while I was watching this.
Oh, good. If there's any film you want to be compared to nowadays.
But in a better way? I mean, because he ended up leaving his family to stay with her, which is what Tom Hanks did in Splash, but he did it in a better way because he went home and he talked to his brother, and they realized he really loved her and wanted to stay for love, not out of fear or anything like that. And so he chose to go back just because he loved her. Like, there was no sense of urgency. There was no emergency to save her from. It was just, I love her and I want to be with her. And that's what you want in a story like this.
Yeah, the crone just does it.
Yes.
It seems that he's past the time she said he had to do it, but then the crone's fine with it. It's fine. We're all nice and happy here.
Yeah.
However, he watches TV, and in the morning, he's talking and he keeps saying stuff in an American accent, and he has the phrase, modern technology is lit AF.
Modern technology is lit AF.
Which is quite good, because I was watching it with someone who didn't know what AF was.
Oh, nice.
And also, because when we pressed play on Netflix, it came up with the sort of, normal kind of rating stuff at the top, and it had a thing of something like implied swearing.
Oh my gosh, because of AF?
And that's the only thing we could put it as being.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I think there were a couple of times where he used phrases that are like, oh, you don't, things like the wench.
Yeah.
You wouldn't use it now, but that's the only one we could think it might have been. Is
Right. Yeah.
Warning, there's an implication of swearing in here.
Yeah. Is Josh Whitehouse British or American?
I think he's British.
Okay. His American accent's kind of atrocious.
What do you think of these awesome new threads? They're straight fire.
Yeah.
But maybe it was done that way on purpose.
I would suspect so.
Okay. All right.
How about you? And did this make your heart grow 3 sizes?
It would have if I hadn't been watching it for the podcast.
Okay.
But I did and really enjoy the way that he got Brooke to believe him or to entertain the possibility that he was telling the truth about where he was from was he told her by that logic only things you comprehend are possible.
The sun rises every morn, and the moon dies only to be reborn each month, and it does so whether I understand them or not. I have traveled here, and it matters not if I understand how.
But you know time travel isn't a real thing, right? And the 1300s are now in 2019.
Well, by that logic, only things that you comprehend are possible.
And I thought that's really nice. That's a really nice sentiment because there are a lot of things in this world that we don't comprehend.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't really comprehend how vaccines work, but I know they do, right? Things like that.
Yeah.
So it was a nice nod, I think, to believing things, even when you can't see them.
Seeing isn't believing. Believing is seeing.
I really like that he teaches her how to bake instead of the other way around, because usually in movies like this, you get the woman teaching the bubbling man how to do things that he should probably already know how to do, or at least have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
And you get lots of scenes of women teaching men how to make cookies and things like that. And this one, he was properly teaching her how to bake bread, and it was lovely. I liked it. I think those were my favorite bits.
Nice. Yeah, the whole bread thing, I quite enjoyed that. I thought that was and particularly him saying that he's done all these sort of apprenticeships in learning to be a knight and so on. It's like that's a very nice way of talking about him and having him coming in able to do all these things.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know why they made him do that, because we liked him already because he was a nice guy.
Right.
Very strange. What did you think? Did you see the mid-credit sequence with the brother?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's going to be a sequel.
Yeah,
no, we're going to have the night before Christmas 2, or the night after Christmas 2, where his brother is the main character who gets also sent to the future.
There's something about the fact she had a red medallion for the brother. Is that the evil version of it?
No.
Is he going to do bad things? Is he balancing the scales here?
No, it was just, it can't be the same medallion because he's a brother.
But, okay, but you don't have one blue and one red, because it is always red versus blue. It's a traditional opposition thing. Have it be yellow or green
maybe.
or... it's probably me. It's probably not intended to be there. It was just an identifiable colour. Mm-hmm. It just has a vague, don't know.
No, I think it's just, there's going to be a lovely sequel next year.
Do you think they had the title before they had the story?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because the title has nothing to do with it at all. It's not a good title.
No.
It's not a good title at all.
Someone somewhere was like, oh, what if I made it about an actual knight? Right, how do I do this? Mm-hmm. And then somehow they fudged that into a Vanessa Hudgens. I keep wanting to call her Gabriella.
Gabriella. Yeah, no, I did that when I was watching it.
Yeah. We're all in this together.
I am a little surprised they didn't even have her sing a Christmas song.
No.
There was no Christmas caroling at all. There were no songs.
There was no dancing?
No. Nope. All right. Well, is there anything else that we need to discuss about The Night Before Christmas?
Do you have any other recommendations for the Netflix or Hallmark specials? Anything we should keep our eyes open for? Or if someone is listening on Christmas Eve, that they should go and watch now?
Well, I am a big fan of The Christmas Prince and The Christmas Prince 2, and probably The Christmas Prince 3 when I watch it this week.
Okay.
I think my favorite Hallmark Christmas movies, there's a trilogy that I didn't think I was going to like. They started coming out several years ago, and I always skipped them because it just sounded weird. The first one is called Finding Father Christmas. Okay. And it didn't sound very romantic, right? Because Father Christmas.
Well, that's what we call Santa. So,
I know, I get the wordplay, but actually, if you read the synopsis, she is actually looking for her father, her birth father, as part of the story. And I watched it, and I loved it. And so then there was a second one, and these are spoilers, but I mean, it's a Hallmark Christmas movie. You know, at the romance, they're going to get together at the end, right? So the second one is called Engaging Father Christmas. And the third one is called Marrying Father Christmas. And so you kind of get 3 Christmases in a row where you follow the relationship. And I love that. I love when you kind of get to be in a world for a long time. And that's why I really like it. Because you also get to follow along with some of the other characters that were in this town that you fell in love with. And I love them. They're really good.
I have to laugh because having looked it up, the poster for it is a guy in green and a woman in red. It is, there are several lists on Letterboxd now of movie posters for Christmas films where it's a heteronormative couple wearing green and red.
Yes.
And it's so funny when you see them all together. I love it.
Yes. Yeah, no, I mean yes, this is definitely Brilliant. One of those things, but it's got a great cast. It's got a great story. They're actually probably my favorites. I definitely recommend them.
Hey, the guy in it was in the Watchmen movie.
Okay.
I'm going through the actors now. Oh, she's famous.
Yeah.
Wendy Malick.
Yeah, that's her name. I couldn't remember her name. But yeah, she's in it.
Okay.
Erin Krakow, that's the main girl's name. She's in the Hallmark TV show When Calls the Heart. She's the lead of that as well. She's definitely a Hallmark actress. But I really like her.
Fascinating.
What about you? Do you have, other than the Summer Glau one that you didn't actually like, what does that help for Christmas or something?
Yeah.
Do you have any that you like?
That was one that was heteronormative and in a slightly offensive way.
Right.
Like, mums are supposed to be here to raise their kids and the dad can go off and run the store was the thing.
Oh.
Yeah. We got halfway through a film last year called The Christmas Dragon, which maybe I'll finish the other half this year, but it was not good. I'm trying to think of the other unusual. I mean, Christmas with the Cranks is a really good film. I can recommend that one.
Of course.
Go and listen to last year's Christmas with the Cranks podcast if you like. Bad Mum's Christmas was fine. As fine as The Night Before Christmas was.
Okay.
If you enjoyed Bad Mums, the first one, Bad Mum's Christmas was fun enough. Mm-hmm. So, and it's got Kristen Bell being great and Susan Sarandon being great. And
well, I still haven't seen Bad Moms, so
worth it.
Okay. There was a new Netflix movie last year called The Christmas Chronicles that had Kurt Russell as Santa.
There was. I didn't watch it last year. I'm not going to watch it this year.
It's better than it looks. I promise. It was actually really good. And then it was really nice at the very end. There was a cameo where you finally got to see Mrs. Claus and it was Goldie Hawn.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. But honestly, it was much better than it looked. And Kurt Russell does a really good Santa.
Okay.
Like, not a traditional Santa, clearly. Right. But it was good. I would recommend that one too.
Nice. We'll have to start finding like Christmas specials from TVs and TV shows and stuff.
Yeah.
Comparing them.
Yeah. I saw, I think it's Jim Mulaney is doing a Christmas special this year for kids. He was a writer on SNL.
Right. We don't get SNL over here.
You'd probably know who he was if you saw his face.
Probably. Yeah.
Okay. All right. If you would like to join the conversation and tell us what your favorite Christmas movies are that maybe aren't the mainstream, more traditional movies, you can use the hashtag PCDeprived on Twitter. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Eloquent Gushing, or you can send an email to podcast@eloquentgushing.com.
We are completely funded by listeners like you through Patreon. Anything you give, even $1 a month, it gives access to exclusive content, bonus shows, merch, exciting stuff, and it helps to support us, support the network, and we can develop new shows. If you want to find out more, you can go to patreon.com/eloquentgushing.
And we'll be back next week where we are going to talk about trading places. Until then, I'm Mandy Kay.
And pray you help one as beauteous as myself.
You're so beauteous, Matthew.
Beauteous.
Beauteous.